karibwa Miriama na uya yako nipe yako epota kesi la kale karibwa eria Miriama na uya yako nipe yako epota kesi la kale karibwa eria Miriama na uya yako nipe yako epota kesi la kale kalifa eria Miriama na uya yako Miriama na uya ya Khalifa ya Miriama uya ya nipe ya kala Khalifa coverage of not just the Karamoja region, but as well as the northern region. I hope you are amazing. That was a powerful performance. Now, this is the second phase that we are launching today, a powerful first phase that expired in 2022, saw a lot of impact and, of course, different programs for especially the young people of this region. I hope to follow the events as they continue to happen. We have the head of the Austrian Development Corporation with us here. We also have the Honorable Sir Minister for the Youth that has made the arrival. Now we can officially start. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, may we all rise for the anthems.
Twaomba unilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You can officially take your seats. I will have a colleague lead the prayer.
Hello, can we have a religious leader to lead us with a word of prayer? Okay, let me do it. Let's humble ourselves. God Almighty Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the leaders. Lord, we know that all we're going to do here, we put it unto you. Lord, we want to thank the leaders who have come. We want to thank the donors. We want to thank everybody who has taken off their time to come to this launch today. Lord, we know that the program that we're going to do today, it's for the benefit of our communities in Karamoja and in northern Uganda. Lord, we pray that you give them the wisdom, you give them the knowledge, you give them the courage that they may lead the people that they are going to find in the communities. Lord, we pray that take charge of this meeting. We know that you are the provider. We pray that you guide everybody here, you protect them. Lord, I say this in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. All right, thank you so much for that wonderful prayer. Right about now, allow me introduce this video, and after that, we'll officially start.
Culture and traditions are an integral part of any social norms, and these do have a contributing factor to the way of life of a Culture and traditions are an integral part of any social norms, and these do have a contributing factor to the way of life of a community across the world. That is no different from Nakiloro, the place where I'm at. It is in Moroto, in Uganda, in the Karamoja sub-region. It has been nothing short of amazing. The people, very welcoming, but that's not all. The weather, if you look around me, there are amazing mountains that have the coolest of weather. It might be windy, but that is not what you expect of the Karamoja sub-region. It's not hot, it is just a beautiful breeze that just captivates you, and that is also in the spirit of its people. I am a part of the MCI media team that is here documenting a project phase launch between UNFPA and the Austrian Development Agency. This is phase 2, and the theme this year is making sure they deliver on the integrated rights that are going to help achieve the universal coverage of not just Karamoja but the northern region.
The main objective of this project is to consolidate the gains from the previous phase of the project, so then we make some sustainable change in the communities that we are supporting. A major thing that we are looking forward to in this program is access to justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. We realized from the last phase that when we implemented the SGBV special court sessions, we were able to really expedite the access to justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. So we are looking forward really to scale up that in this project so that many survivors of sexual and gender-based violence are able to receive justice.
And this particular project will make sure that all these social norms are encouraged, and those that do not work for the people perhaps are alleviated.
Here, give it up for the beautiful lady in this attire. I don't know about you, but I feel I want to go and change. Yes. First and foremost, you're doing amazing. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
For those of us who don't know why exactly you're wearing this, perhaps you could share with us why this particular bead. I'm wearing one, but I think for our audience out there, perhaps you could put this into context.
Thank you very much. The bead that I'm wearing today is a traditional one. It's mostly worn by women who have been married traditionally. And this is one of the attires that during the marriage ceremonies, the women have to wear, and then they put on more beads on top, and then there's also a metallic called the alagite. So they put on, and then around their wrists, around their arms, and then the headdress also you need to put on so that you look beautiful.
Amazing.
For that man.
Yes, that is in context for those of us that are just wearing them without context. To our online audience, allow us welcome you officially to be a part of this great day. We are here to launch the delivery of the integrated rights to make sure we achieve universal coverage, and not just for Karamoja, but for the northern region. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an audience online, but for now, I wanted to share a brief story. Yesterday, I was in Nakiloro area, and it was the warmth of the people. I feel I don't want to leave. Should you see me around after today, get me a name. Yes? I'm looking forward to that. And that beautiful video was captured in that community, and it was so uplifting to see the smiles that have been brought to the faces of the young people, the women and girls, because of efforts such as these. Kudos to you, and a huge round of applause to the Australian Development Agency together with the UNFPA. Yes, right now, maybe my colleague will allow us to do protocol recognition of members that are here.
Thank you, Tracy. First of all, I want to welcome our guest of honor, the Minister of State for Children and Youth, Honorable Sarah Mateke. You're welcome to Moroto. Feel at home. We have a representative from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Mr. Innocent Tushabe. You're welcome. We have the UNFPA Deputy Representative. You're welcome. We have the RDCs of the various districts. You can stand and we recognize you. Surprisingly, I think we have only the RDC Moroto, who is our host. That is Mr. Tuko Justin. You're welcome. Then we have the district chairpersons. Yes, that is Karamoja and Northern Uganda districts. Then we have the judiciary. The judiciary, yeah, that's the chief magistrate of Moroto Court. We have the cultural leaders present. We have the cultural leaders from Acholi, Lango. By title, they are the prime ministers. Thank you. Then we have the district community development officers. Thank you. We have the district health officers. We have the regional police commanders. That one is for Aswa region. And the one of Mount Moroto was also present, but I think has just stepped out. Then we have the CSOs present. Our partners. Yes, thank you. We have BRAC, we have Action Aid. Then we have the chief administrative officers. Thank you. And of course, we cannot forget the institution that has brought us all here. And that is our mighty donor, the Austrian Development Agency, represented by Dr. Kremsha. Have I mentioned well?
You did well, correct.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, that's Doctor. I want to welcome all of you to Moroto District. Feel at home. My names are Christine Akot. I am a born of Moroto District. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives us utmost pleasure to be in a room such as this one. I want to remind everyone that we are launching the second phase. The second phase can only happen because there was a successful first phase. Now, a huge round of applause for everyone that was part of the first phase. A lot has been achieved, and this particular project was rolled out, I was reliably told, 9 districts. We had 3 sub-regions of Karamoja, Lango, and Acholi. And between all those 3 sub-regions is a total of about 9 districts impacting young women, young girls, young people in this country. Now, if that doesn't tell you what a great project we're looking forward to in phase 2, I don't know what is. Perhaps right now, allow us to call the first speech.
Okay, we would like to welcome the district chairperson, Moroto District, to give his welcome remarks. Chairman, you're welcome.
our visitors, good morning. You are most welcome to Moroto District. Madam Minister, you are most welcome. Karamoja is proud to have you here today. Everybody here is proud to have you here today. It's a big pleasure. Feel free, feel at home. Our Ministry for Gender and your team, you are most welcome in all your protocols. Our resident commissioners, all the securities, personnel involved there. It's my pleasure to have you, this part of the region. I want to recognize in a special way my brothers, the LOC5. Can you stand up? You shepherds of the region. There they are. Thank you, you're most welcome. Feel free, feel at home. Can I say all protocol observed? All protocol observed. For the sake of time, Moroto, I won't say that it's as old as I am. The land of Uganda gave Moroto a district status in 1971. So most of you are younger than this mother district of Karamoja. This is a Karamoja district, and we are proud to have it. It is true, our partner, UNAPA and Austrian government, that the gender-based violence in this region, in this part, it is real. It is real. And to whom is it impacting? It is impacting majorly to a human. Majorly and greatly to a human. How? In the form of early marriages. You know, they are deprived of a number of rights. Deprived. They don't own anything in terms of land. They are just there only for, sex work and other things. Not really considered. When you come into Karamoja, especially to Moroto, to those boys and the girls that were dancing called the Tepes, Amdat, the Pokot, the Kadama in Nakapriprit, there is a culture that promotes more of aggravated violence called female genital mutilation. Having gone that process, it qualifies you to be a woman at the age of 9, 10. My question here is, how shall we fight that vice, that cultural vice? It's my role, it's your role, as a church, as an organization, as a government, to fight the mindset of the desire for wealth. Because it is the desire for wealth that gives us our children for early marriages. So, Madam Minister, it is true these things exist in my region. I want to say that I hope this integral approach will put a girl child and a woman at high peaks, high climax of consideration for education. For consideration for a number maybe of skill development. It shouldn't only be talking. So what after talking? Can this integral approach today consider a woman of Karamoja, of this region, to empowerment? In our Karamoja centers, We have places called the slums. But when we political leaders go there, we are told we are the young mothers. Young mothers at the age of 12. Can this program we are launching today address to that one in case they are out of school? Can it return them to school, to the completion? Can it build their capacity to the point that they are able now to cope with life? Because actually it tends to become street women. Even their children become street children. Who cares for who now? If we are talking of social transformation, that's where to begin from. This fora, this gathering should address how shall we avail and help them. As I conclude, education is the key to a better life. Can this integral process put this woman to a better climax to say maybe we are considering a girl child in school for Karamoja to a certain level of education? Our visitors who are coming, who are visiting us today, and Madam Minister in the Strait of Kampala, in the Strait of Mbale, the largest number you see there are the women and the girls. And that's the future for this region. I want join to our feelings to say, how best can we help these children for betterness? Once more, I want to say that the church, you have a role here to play. The church, you have a role here to play. When is it right for us to marry? Karamoja. There are things that are also promoting this one, our insecurity. When men ran out of animals, they give their daughters at an early age for desire for wealth. I want to say, again, once more, you are most welcome. We are proud to have this project, UNAP. You have done a lot. You championed the FGM Act, where I was a participant, fighting against female genital mutilation in Moroto district. And the community I was fighting against gave me total support during my political desires. They even gave me a name that I am a man who does not need the cutting once more. Once more, I want to say you are most welcome, feel free. I want to say this all for God and my country. Thank you.
A huge round of applause for the district chairperson, Moroto District. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that was the district chairperson, Moroto District. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize Honorable Okin P.P. Ojara, the MP, Chua West, Kitgum District. Yes, wave. Also, allow me welcome and recognize the presence of a representative from the Uganda Human Rights Commission who is in our midst. Thank you so much. It is now a pleasure to invite a lady that needs no introduction. I have been with Rachel for a very long time and I've seen her do her magic. Community is her spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, to help us have a project overview is none other than Miss Rachel Ogola. Thank you so much. She will be taking us through the project overview.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Honorable Minister, thank you for gracing the occasion. Our donors from Austria, we are really privileged to have you support this program and all protocols observed. Thank you all for really gracing this occasion and taking your time to come and be in the launch event with us. So as I've been introduced, my name is Rachel Ogola. I work with the UNFPA in Kampala as a program specialist, gender and human rights. I'm going to take you through the project brief. I'm going to talk about the project. You're not going to see presentation or something like that. And it's good that from the beginning, at least you saw something, that this project is all about. So our project title is all over this, this room. The project is titled Delivering an Integrated Package of Rights to Achieve Universal Coverage in Karamoja and Northern Uganda. So that's the project title. It's a phase 2 of the project. We had the phase 1 of the project from 2019 up to mid last year, 2022, when we closed with the evaluation of the first phase of the project. And then our generous donors agreed to fund a phase 2, a follow-up phase of the project. So that's what brings us here. The project goal is to increase utilization of sexual reproductive health and GBV services and reduce GBV and other harmful practices in the target districts. The LC5 for Moroto has mentioned to you that GBV is very high in these regions and how they manifest even in terms of child marriage and female genital mutilation. So the objective of the project is to ensure that women and young people, including the ones in the hard-to-reach communities and those most at risk, will be empowered to exercise their rights, free from gender-based violence and social norms, attitudes, and behaviors that limit sexual and reproductive health and rights. And when we talk about the hard-to-reach communities, you saw a video yesterday, we are in Tapet community. We would really want this program to reach those who are in the very hard-to-reach areas. Most of our programs, as many people here are programmers know, they reach people within Moroto, walking distance. But this program, we are really aiming to reach those who are really in those, up in the mountains, in those places where there is no, internet connectivity, no electricity, and they are cut off from everything. So that's really what we are looking forward to reach with this program. The funding amount is 3 million euros, and the program is running for 2 years, this year 2023, and next year 2024. Then the project's main aim is to consolidate the gains that we made in the previous project. Remember, the previous project, we had some successes. I'll mention a few of them. And we realized that really for us to ensure that we get some sustainable gains, we need long-term investments. And so we are adding onto the investment for the first 2 years to get investment up to 4 years, so then we can have some sustainable change within the communities that we are working on. Also, our first project, we implemented it fully in the COVID years. So there were lots of challenges in terms of the COVID restriction movements that made us not really realize some of the gains that we would have wanted. But remember, we are launching this phase 2. We didn't launch phase 1 because we implemented it during COVID, and so we were not allowed to gather like this. So we are really happy with this phase 2 that we are able to even gather together to have the launch. The coverage, the project targets 9 districts, and we are happy that all the 9 districts are represented here in the launch through their various leadership. So in Karamoja region, the program will target 6 districts. That is Abim, Amudat, Moroto, Nakapiripirit, Kabong, and Napak. And then 3 districts in Lango and Acholi region, 2 in Acholi region, that is Omoro and Kitugum, and then Otuke in Lango sub-region. I just want to be reassured that all the sub-regions, so people from Abim, if you can just raise up your hands, so we are sure we are not talking on your behalf. Amudat, Moroto, our host, Nakapiripirit, wow. Kabong, good. Napak, excellent. Lango, that is Omoro, Wonderful. Kitsgum? Otuke? Wow. So it's evident that we are all here today on this launch. And so those are the 9 districts that this program will reach. And why, somebody would ask, why did we decide to work in these 9 districts? First, as I mentioned, we want to consolidate the gains. So the gains were in those districts. Other than consolidating the gains, when you look at the data that you have, you realize that this region constitutes some of the most marginalized groups who still bear unreasonable burdens of limited access to justice, taking the forms of long distances to service points, including police stations, health facilities, and even courts. And if you could see where, for people who know where Tapet is, violence at 61%, sexual violence at 47%, and emotional violence at 76%. So I guess in this room we are around 100 people. So if we were in Acholi, then 76% of us would have experienced physical violence. You can imagine. So at least someone in your neighbor, you're sitting with on the same table. So Honorable Minister and Dr. Kremsha, if you are in Acholi, either you or the Honorable Minister or Daniel or Katia would have been experienced physical violence. So it's that high. And then 47% would have experienced sexual violence. So with that really made us feel we need to invest in these areas so then we reduce this gender-based violence. When we talk about access to justice, as I mentioned, there still exists massive backlog. Yesterday we were checking with colleagues from the judiciary, and Gulu High Court still has a backlog of like 1,000 cases. One of our successes for the first one was to reduce the backlog, because the first one we did a lot of SGBV special sessions in Karamoja region. And we are happy now Moroto doesn't have backlog. Can we clap for Moroto? So building on such, really we would want to ensure that we support all the regions so then they don't have backlogs. And again, on sexual reproductive health services, Karamoja and Acholi are the second and third sub-regions that recorded the highest percentage increase in teenage pregnancies in 2021. Remember after COVID when the whole country was worried about the increasing cases of teenage pregnancy, then UNFPA did produce some data to show the magnitude of teenage pregnancy in the country. And we realized that Karamoja and Acholi are the second and the third sub-regions that recorded the highest percentage increase in teenage pregnancy, with 15.8% and 11.5% respectively, higher than the national increase, which was 7%. And moreover, 3 districts, that is Amudat and Abim in Karamoja and Omoro in Acholi, are among the 12 districts that they recorded more than 20% increase in teenage pregnancy. The teams are here. I hope I'm not lying. If I'm lying, you would have said no, so I'm sure I'm telling the truth. Yeah. So what are some of the successes? So that's the reason why we are really, targeting these districts, because of these poor indicators on sexual reproductive health and gender-based violence. And Amudat also is one of the regions that has the FGM and the cross-border FGM, same to Tapet, because the communities are bordering Kenya and they keep moving in between for the practice of FGM. So some of the successes that we experienced or we saw in phase 1 that we want to move forward with in phase 2. I'll just mention a few in the interest of time. So one, I've talked about increased access to justice, where now in Moroto we have 0 backlog. And then we also saw improved conviction rates from less than 20% to 74%. When we say that we have zero backlog in Moroto, it doesn't mean we want to stop working in Moroto. We want to sustain the gain. We want to let it be at zero. So then that means we still need to have some investment. When we have moved the conviction rates from less than 20% to 74%, it doesn't mean we have to stop there. We want to move it to even 100% if it is possible. So that's why we are saying we want to consolidate this gain and sustain the change. We have also witnessed increase in improvement in survivor-centered approach to justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence through the joint planning by the JLOs. When you bring the police, the ODPP, the judiciary, all under the leadership of the Secretariat under Ministry of Justice, they have worked together, and with this kind of coordination, we've seen improved survivor-centered approach to justice, which we want to move forward with. Increased in access to family planning through community approaches like using the VHTs to distribute family planning in communities. You see, these communities are very, they have the challenges of long distance to health facilities. So innovative approaches like having the VHTs reaching communities where they are really increase uptake to family planning services, which we really want to move forward with. The Phase 1 program managed to galvanize support of religious and cultural leaders. And you see in our presence here today, we have the Prime Minister of Acholi and the Prime Minister of Lango. You could stand so then the team can also see you. They are in our midst. So, and really, the importance of having them move the agenda of, in addressing issues of GBV, child marriage, and FGM. And so we really want to keep these gains as we move forward in our second phase. Empowerment of young women and young people on issues of sexual reproductive health and services. You also, the Ella girls really dancing, and most of you have interacted with them in your communities. I know some of them are around, some are within the compound. You'll get to interact with them. And we would really want to move forward with these positive gains that we achieved. Can you clap for us, really, for the good work? So I've talked so much about the gains of Phase 1. So what is it that is new? Someone would ask, what is it that is new in this Phase 2? You can see how new it is, very colorful, yeah? So the Phase 2 is very colorful, and we are looking forward to have a more focus on access to justice, including building capacities of survivors to report and strengthen the referral systems. One of the challenges we notice is most of the survivors are not able to report. Even if they are abused, they cannot report. So then that hinders their access to justice. So in this new phase, we want to really build capacity also of the survivors to be able to report so that we strengthen the referral system. Engagement of social movements for most at-risk population, for instance, network of persons living with disabilities. We invited the representative for persons living with disability in Moroto. I don't know whether they came, but we are really looking, that's something that we are really looking forward to. We don't want to leave anyone behind. You can imagine how difficult it would be for someone who's living with disability who is in this hard-to-reach area. It's more harder for them to access the services than it is even for people who are not persons without disabilities. We are looking forward to work with Uganda Human Rights Commission. In our previous program, we did not work closely with Uganda Human Rights Commission, but you realize that GBV is a human rights issue. So we want to bring on, we have brought on board, not we want to, Uganda Human Rights. And Uganda Human Rights is here with us in this new phase. So then we address these GBV and SRHR issues as human rights issues. Another new thing that is coming is media engagement to increase awareness of GBV and SRH. And you saw from the beginning, yeah? We are trying to do a lot of media engagement because media also reaches really a massive number of people with information. We do community dialogue, community engagements, but they can only reach a limited number of people. So this is something that we are really looking forward to. And then the other thing that is new in this phase is we really want a more coordinated approach in implementing this program. And from the beginning, I remember most of the districts, we invited you in the planning for this program. And last month, we had a planning meeting with all the districts and the key stakeholders, and we would really want to deliver together in this program. With that, I thank you.
All right, a huge round of applause for Miss Rachel Ogola. All right, just a point of clarity there. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be going for a tea break much later in just a bit. Just to remind us all, we have a commitment board. Now, there's a lot that we're saying, but we also have to make sure we commit to actively doing this together. And so right outside there, as you move out for anything, please remember to, if you feel convicted to be a part of this fight, to sign and commit to being part of phase 2. Now, right about now, I want to welcome the cultural leader for Acholi sub-region. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel, your statistics put me in a very bad position. I don't know how to explain it, but I want to say that we still have very good men and women in Acholi. We are only worried that the women would fear us. But thank you, Honorable Minister, the team from the Austrian Embassy, UNFPA, the districts, the different institutions, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all the cultural institutions that are represented in this region, I want to say that we are very happy that today we are witnessing a new phase that is intended to build on what we've been doing before. So we want to thank our partners very dearly. More importantly, the Austrian government through the Austrian Development Corporation, UNFPA, and more importantly, our mother ministry, who without them would have not made this possible. So the Ministry of Gender, we thank you too. In line with that, when commitments like this in terms of resources and capacities are made, it must be replicated. And all of us who are here are there to replicate the gesture that our partners have made, recognizing that we have a problem and that this problem retards our growth and development. I think today we should all reaffirm ourselves to this commitment and ensure that our efforts to improve the lives of our people is realized. I wish I had the time. I was speaking to the regional police commander of our region. she expressed that just in a span of 1 week in Acholi, the highest level of GBV was witnessed with 10 deaths, people murdering each other, killing each other out of gender-based violence. This is worrying. 10, less than a week ago. She's here. She can bear you witness to this. And this goes to emphasize the critical fact that we have to take action. Actually, for instance, was not made to be like this. But I think we are witnessing the typical effects of conflict that we never dealt with at the time we should have dealt with. The spiraling cases of gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies. The rate of defilement is on the rise. Drug abuse, all forms of drug abuse. And more, we're now witnessing the highest level of suicide, which nobody talks about. Because suicide is violence against yourself. Why don't we consider it as something that we all have to deal with? So we have all these, let me use the computer language, software issues manifesting itself on our people. I don't think Karamoja is any different. And I don't think Lango is any different. And these are things that we should not wait for our donors and partners to do for us. We have our districts, they have planning units, they have departments like community development departments who interact with these issues every day and who allocate resources to some of these things. I believe with or without our donors, we should be thinking about these things. The net consequence of that is that we have seen the human capacities of our people lowering significantly. Our people have become less and less competitive in a very competitive world. We are complaining our land is going, but we cannot even work this land. So other people are coming to fill in the gaps because we cannot compete against them. So we have to be realistic that to fight destitution and poverty, some of these things that undermine the growth of human capacities must be dealt with. Gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy. A girl at 12 years who gets pregnant is almost wasted. Imagine what she could have done through her life. In actually, we have grandmothers of 30 years. Imagine what has gone through her life. So these are serious consequences. Now, as a cultural institution, you will ask, what have we been doing? I'm aware all the cultural institutions in these regions, Karamoja, Lango, and Acholi, have been doing a lot of work. They are only incapacitated. And a project like this comes to reinforce a lot of what they have been doing. They've been fighting extensively to end teenage pregnancies, to keep women in school, girls and children in schools. Most recently, we partnered with MTN Uganda to promote or to promote action against teenage pregnancy. We held a football tournament. We have just concluded it for both boys and girls. And this football tournament was not for the urban centers. It was for the rural centers. It was phenomenal. We had bicycle race for both women and boys, all with the aim of promoting the fight against gender-based violence, against teenage pregnancy, and all the other ills. And thank you. We are happy that it scored a lot of results, and we hope that we are going to continue in line with that. I want to end here by saying, as all the cultural institutions, today is not the day we are committed. We shall continue to commit ourselves to the efforts of fighting gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies, and the promotion of the well-being of our people in all ways. I thank you for listening to me.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. A huge round of applause for the cultural leader from the Acholi sub-region. And also another round of applause for the commitment. I think that is why we're here, and that is very powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me welcome the district chairperson for Omoro district to make their statement.
The Honorable Minister of Youth and Children's Affairs of this great country, Uganda, the country representative of UNFPA, our donor here present, officials from the ministry, department, and agencies, political leaders, and the technical team of the various districts here present, media, print, and electronics, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Okelo Douglas Peter, the chairperson of Omoro District Local Government, located in Acholi sub-region. I bring you greetings from Omoro District Local Government and the joint Acholi Sub-Region Leaders Forum. May you receive our greetings. I am honored to attend this inaugural launch of the Austrian Development Agency funded program titled Delivering an Integrated Package of Rights to Achieve Universal Coverage in Northern Uganda and Karamoja. Honorable Minister, my statement is premised on the global theme, leaving no one behind. The theme emphasizes on the urgent need for inclusive intervention without discrimination by unlocking the barriers and the bottlenecks of access to justice, traditional norms that are dehumanizing and cause gender disparity, among others. Honorable Minister, permit me to appreciate the government of Uganda for provide an enabling environment to UN agencies and the partners to work in this country, and most importantly, providing an on and off-budget support to local governments as an engine for service delivery. We really appreciate, and let us give a very big round of applause for that. Furthermore, allow me to appreciate the government of Austria for the funding support through UNFPA for the second phase of the ADA program, which will seek to empower women and young people, including those in hard-to-reach areas, to exercise their rights free from gender-based violence sexual and reproductive rights to mention. Omoro district and the most significant part of the Acholi sub-region where I come from present the high incidences of gender-based violence, weak systems on gender-based violence response and management, and significant barriers to access to justice that's promoting impunity and destroying the positive fabrics of our society. We all know that gender-based violence and other harmful practices have adverse effects on sexual and reproductive health of women, girls, as well as men. Our chief guest, the second phase of the ADA program comes timely to address the sexual reproductive health rights, gender-based violence, and access to justice challenges across the targeted districts of the program, including Omoro. And I believe from this intervention, from what has been mentioned, as Omoro district, I believe we shall have role model men and women. I also believe we shall have role model families. I also believe that we're going to strengthen the referral pathways to access justice to all without discrimination. My Prime Minister mentioned Acholi sub-region, teenage pregnancy is very high. The girl is young, a very young boy, producing a young child. There are 3 young people in one household. And if they need syrup, they all need it at the same time. And if they are crying, they cry at the same time. This needs to be addressed and addressed collectively. As a representative of the political leaders, we are keen to coordinate the delivery and our oversight function on this program and ensure that this program is aligned to the key interventions by the district. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we fully commit to work with UNFPA and all the partners in delivering this good second phase of the intervention to the selected district. May the Almighty God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for the district chairperson, Omoro district. Without wasting any more of your time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me welcome the police commander for Aswa region. A huge round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. It's a wonderful time to be a woman. I look at her and all I see is empowerment. A huge round of applause as she makes her way to the stage.
Thank you so much. Assistant Commissioner of Police, Nashuha Damad, the Regional Police Commander, Aswa River Region, the Honorable Minister, and the other invited guests, other implementing partners. Good morning. I was having an interaction with some of the participants and was saying it's the first time seeing a woman RPC. I think I should congratulate myself as well to be among other few. Previously, last year we were only 3 women RPCs. 1 has been removed and we are remaining only 2 out of 28. So it's a great honor to be among the 2 that are serving the Uganda Police as Regional Police Commander. I would like to congratulate UNFPA and the implementing partners for winning the second phase of the Austrian Development Agency. Gender-based violence the ones that will suffer most. There was another one that happened last year. I think I have to mention it, where one of the lawyers stabbed the husband. Husband died. Now she's in prison. The husband is dead, buried. And now, where are the children? Who's taking care of them? It's something that we have to think about. Some of the challenges that we face while trying to prosecute and investigate. We usually have late reporting of some of the sexual offenses. When the case is reported late, we find little evidence to have the offenders prosecuted. Secondly, some of the victims are intimidated by the offenders. In most cases, the offenders are people who are close relatives or sometimes people in authority. And so they intimidate the victims and they end up not coming to testify in court. So we end up losing some of these cases. Now, I would wish to say that to fight gender-based violence, it requires all of us as stakeholders to come in handy and fight the vice, because it is very, very bad. And we commit ourselves as Uganda Police Force, and as a lady, because me personally, I'm so passionate about children, so passionate about children that even I have no maid at home, because I don't want to see my children suffer, and I take care of myself personally. We are so much committed as Uganda Police Force to support the program and to work hand in hand through sensitization and prosecution of the offenders. I thank you so much. And for your matek, for those that come from the other side.
Thank you so much. A huge round of applause. And thank you so much for putting that into context. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our online audiences, and feel free if you are in this room and you have a smartphone to commit even online. Let's make sure these conversations are beyond the borders that are here. So get your phone, tweet about it, Facebook, use WhatsApp status, make sure you commit. Let's create more awareness about making sure we end some of the most harmful practices, as well as sexual and gender-based violence. You can do that. To our online audience, thank you so much for keeping it here with us. You can also follow the conversation on the UNFPA pages, and that is Facebook as well as YouTube. We are there, and everyone is taking part in this conversation, so it's not stopping here. The rest of the world is in part of this conversation. Right about now, allow me welcome, we're still with the JLOS community, and it gives me the utmost pleasure to invite the resident judge for the Moroto High Court. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause as he makes his way to the stage.
The Honorable Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, development partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I've been given 3 minutes, and I think I should summarize. Everyone who has not observed, we are on the board together. Good morning. Our theme today, of course, covers an integrated package of rights to achieve universal coverage in Karamoja and northern Uganda. I want to say that I am representing the High Court judge, the registrar, acting registrar of that court. This court is about 6 months old. When we get an opportunity of a high court in this region, it gives us a lot of access to justice, which we are trying to promote, because the High Court has unlimited jurisdiction to handle every matter of any nature, civil or criminal. So when we get that opportunity here, it is a clap for the region and the promotion of rights. Our commitment is on access to justice so that we implement this. We can talk about all these others, but the test or the laboratory of this implementation comes to us in the courts, and that is why we are indeed alive to the occasion of the implementation and supporting this cause. That's why we are here today, and we had to come. The judge could not make it on our own, but it's as her personal assistant registrar, and so on. I represent her in that capacity. Our access to justice in the region is evidenced by the statement which has been made on our behalf that we don't have backlog of cases in Moroto. And for that reason, it is evidence that we are handling this. That includes gender-based violence cases. And our commitment has gone a step further than that. You will remember that in all our 9 districts, for example, in Karamoja, some of the areas have not seen a magistrate. A place like Karenga, a place like Navilatuk, a place like Napak, a place on the, like Amadat. That is a battle we should take in and make sure that we help those people see justice. When we leave justice or implementation of justice in the elders, our elders in the region to handle that, the LCs, the police, on-spot fines, and the mediating on matters, I don't think the avenue of justice gets an opportunity to appeal against the decision of those avenues. So I'm saying that when we get an opportunity like this one, let us promote access to justice to its fullest. We have, not that we have done nothing about it. Yesterday, we were, or this week, we had an opportunity to launch the opening of a court in Napak. Soon we shall be opening a court in Navilatuk. Navilatuk was in the press for not seeing a judge or a magistrate for the last 50 years. What does it mean? Unreported cases there does not mean that there is no gender-based violence. Maybe they have done it on their own. I want to give you a case study. When we went to Navilatuk, for example, there was a defilement case there. When we handled the case there on spot and we put the offender to 3 years imprisonment, I saw people shying off and it reduced the cases. How many other cases go there unreported and we think that justice is taking on? Our commitment further on gender-based violence is evidenced by the call you made to us when we went to Kampala recently, and we celebrated a case where a lady, one who cuts women and disorganizes some of their body parts, was brought to our court. At the end of the case, removing a female genital cutter, mutilator, out of society has helped us somehow send a message to the public. The minister then, your counterpart was there, said, we are celebrating this case. Is this the only case? It is not the only case. It is a case that touches, because it is one of the kind which has gone through the courts of law. And if it has gone through the courts of law, how many other people are doing the vice, the other side, unattended? Take an example of a place like the Sebei region, where women are known for going through the vice. Why haven't they brought people of that nature to court? It means that it is still going on silently and being uploaded by the society that goes and does the practice. So I applaud Moroto for at least the police in Moroto for going a step further, for bringing us. If the police are not active, we don't get the opportunity to do what we are supposed to do. So the police, thank you, Madam Regional Police Commander, will talk to your counterparts, the counterparts will talk to the others will go up to down. Thank you, the local authorities. Thank you for coming in so that when you go and you talk to the elders and you make sure that you bring these people, children will see justice. Even the boys whom we are talking about, and I'm happy that we have the Minister for Youth. Our boys here are also being victims of, they will get problems in the long run. I don't want to say the word, but I think let me save it for the time. This is for the girls and this is for gender-based violence. But you know that there's a problem here. Our boys don't go to school. They are used for cattle keeping. Our boys go in the bushes and they don't go to school. The girls wake up in the morning collecting firewood to support and vent for their families. If we don't join hands and save the boys and save the girls as youth, the whole thing we shall be going back and rotating around that area. So now I want just to say that we are committed as a judiciary to promote access to justice in this region. I commit myself, and if there was a declaration to sign, I will sign. As a High Court, I would say that as a High Court, we implement the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. When you talk about universal, the law there, of course, is the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. Then we come down to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which is still within the jurisdiction of the High Court. And we end with the Uganda's constitution, because now when you talk about the universal and so on, that is what it is. So members, finally, I want to say that don't leave us behind when an opportunity like this one comes, so that we can compare notes, encourage ourselves, and make sure that we are at the same page. If you leave the police out, if you leave the judiciary, the prisons, and so on, you will see we shall move in a lopsided manner. Thank you for giving us this opportunity, and may God bless you, and journey mercies when you go back.
Thank you very much, the representative of the resident judge of the Moroto High Court. For the benefit of our beneficiaries, I want to do some small translation. Yale mamete nge pupeta nga mudigu yerge khori mare. Iyakabya. Elalaka. Kike adi mono ngakanu mune ngol kidi kotere bo istiar beda lalan. Wenye hapana sikia Kiingereza mzuri. Wako hapa? Okay, I think it's only the Karamoja. So kona kwaranaga yaka wonege kotera program na ikingara kini wondada. Ingara kini ngaber, ingara kini ngapedur. Anera yente danie ponionege mati wonde pupio ngadikiro. Kotera ni bongori olore to yeni yongo atudo kini nguni cheda. Atamara yer katete na program na ko nege. So ngona ko ne pontera wonege ra ko tere program na ibakinta ko tere ngiyoko reria alore ka maga. Era no ko tere nga pedur. Yente de nga pedur na lalak. Apudo no nga pedur na lalak. Tanar ka nga pedur no nge chamito de borengini. Ale manar nga pedur alo dukul. Nga beru dai dicho alore. Inki loko to kona aratrata de nga beru na lalak. Ni de ke bia lalata. So kona ngede buntur kona program naga ko tere kinga raki wondada. Una na ide ka rura akimata na UNFPA nege. Yente de tia on ka UNFPA. Dere ama kilote de ngolunte de nga iti shata. Luina pito edlugu igirta ibrak igirta UNFPA igirta kawo igirta RC. Keche ponto angaraki won. Anera talo jokotau nyepedorote aponare akiti etich. Itorunte kech kotere otere gulu itiete tichurungolo. Una kona balango ekeu atamar. Toko na moroto. Ayaun kone koti moroto. Nikon na kolong na buna yon na pay ay wache mamta ngi pedorio atana ayo na kuan. Ngitunga ka mai lilingi to kotere ngakiro. Ngecham to ngitunga rapona lokot. So nget ke bala kapolon. Toko na ngarre koti alo moroto anege. Apataner na iwon na bo. Kolo alo de non paka sorot. Ani yente di borner boko ya doka kina bad rangi de linga pe isti yao. So toko na atubi mo ngona. Ngila kare di ko tera ngona. Ana ina bo ngitunga lwe rata oda. Angar toko na ni pedodo akreta kini boreni kondeni. Kera adung apedur areta kini boreni ni. Ani ara iyong ini anyune be chamta kona kitupudor kona dio pede alore kama. Ipedodo ya motun lo polido ali mokni polido ata maria dia yanga pedu na chamta kitupudor ngama ore yang pedu na chamta ya ko nai agnelar wado keche bore. So anabo ya tukot na VHTs ikingara kinto ne tishnera no way to kana wan ngaber kolong edo wan ngangi do lwalala na ruko na yong edwe itunya kintani era no way tema yo nyoberen e chamtungane na kirkan ngabe yeda na ko kya. So yanyi to na yongo lo daktari ani lo dion lo daktari tamariwa ani kirka kyo akidoun tamara yonga ibak mono beren mono otere kiretak akidoun na bache otere ngedwe lu topolo ute jok ngede kana kinot ko tir ngetwa kana bo atipe kana ina bo aya una na program naga aya unu itunga luke kelebia kingara kinto woni Ato kanelo dion lo kelebia, idora ngakrona bokoy to jongotara tratanga pedur, to jongoteji ala kalia, kiboyete jok. So nget ko na bokoy tola karate ko tereng tungangulu. Kana ina bona ngarana kene ngaber. To kana ed ngaber alore ka ma itiete de biashara lalalan. Ala kara no way. That was briefly in the local language of Karamoja.
You need to teach me, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, I am ready. Who wants to come for classes? I am going. Yes, I have classes. Classmates, huh? All right.
But you know, for you to learn the language easily,
yes,
you need to get someone who is closer to you.
Okay.
Not so.
This table alone needs people closer. Yeah, but we're many, so
Okay.
we'll start.
Yes.
But I think in the interest of
time.
we can do the lessons after. And she's here to make sure we all learn some Karamojong before we leave. But right now, it gives us the utmost pleasure to invite the UNFPA country representative to give us a word or two.
Thank you.
It seems I forgot my remarks. Let me go and get them. Exactly. So a pleasant morning. Honorable Minister of State for Children and Youth at the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Honorable Sarah Mateke. Head of the Austrian Development Agency, Dr. Roswitha Kremser, and other representatives of ADA present. Honorable Members of Parliament, judicial officers, and the Chief Magistrate of Moroto, thank you for joining us. Police commanders here present, district chairpersons, chief administrative officers, and RDCs. We're really honored to have you all here, and I'm really delighted to welcome all 9 districts to this official launch. Thank you very much for joining us from near and afar. Representatives of government ministries and agencies, and I take note of the presence of representatives of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, district and local government officials here present, cultural and religious leaders, and I take note of the presence of the Prime Ministers of Langwa and Acholi. Thank you very much for joining us. Representatives of our UNFPA implementing partners, UN colleagues here present, young people, youth leaders, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm really honored to be with all of you here today on this auspicious day to launch the second phase of our ADA-funded project titled Delivering an Integrated Package of Rights to Achieve Universal Coverage in Karamoja and Acholi, Karamoja and Northern Uganda as a whole. The project is a 2-year partnership between UNFPA and the Austrian Development Agency from starting in 2023 and going up to end of 2024. UNFPA appreciates the generous support of the Austria Development Cooperation in Uganda under the leadership of Dr. Kremser here with us for the €3 million, of course, funding of this imperative project. I do appreciate the leadership of the government of Uganda, particularly through the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and thank you, Honorable, for being with us today, and all district, local governments, and UNFPA implementing partners for the successful, of course, implementation of phase 1, and for joining us all today here in large numbers for the launch. This is indeed an expression of our mutual commitment towards the implementation of the project and, more importantly, changing the lives of women and girls here in Uganda, which quite a number of you spoke eloquently about. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, globally and in Uganda, we need to double down our efforts to eliminate gender-based violence. Governments, donors, civil society organizations, communities, religious and cultural institutions are galvanizing advocacy efforts and sharing innovations and knowledge to end violence against women and girls. Yet, notwithstanding these growing efforts and achievements, violence against women and girls remains the most widespread and pervasive human rights violation worldwide, affecting more than an estimated 1 in 3 women globally. A figure that unfortunately and sadly has remained largely unchanged over the last decade. The most recent global estimates show that, on average, a woman or a girl is killed by someone in her own family every 11 minutes. Every 11 minutes. If you can recall, last year, police in Chigegwe reported a case of a man who allegedly murdered his wife over the use of family planning. In Gulu, it was reported that a man stabbed his girlfriend to death and after that attempted suicide and died in Gulu Regional Hospital while receiving treatment. These instances, of course, are not peculiar to Gulu and Chigegwe districts, but are rather typical in many of the communities in Uganda, as we all agree. Sadly, most cases are never reported or don't even find their way into mainstream media for broader dissemination. The regional disparities in the prevalence of gender-based violence in Uganda are tremendously huge. And I think my colleague Rachel tried to capture some of these figures. Karamoja, Lango, and Acholi subregions record widespread gender inequality and case incidence of GBV. For instance, the 2021 National Survey on Violence in Uganda indicates that the Acholi subregion registered the highest prevalence of lifetime intimate partner sexual violence at 64%, as said earlier, far above the national prevalence, which is 34%, almost double. While Acholi and Karamoja regions led in the prevalence of physical violence, women experiencing severe physical violence constituted 16% at the national level, while it constituted 49% in Acholi and 28% in Karamoja. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, GBV will persist as long as women's rights and choices are treated as inferior to men's, and women's bodily autonomy is continuously infringed upon. Yet violence against women and girls is preventable, and I repeat, is preventable. Transforming socio-cultural norms, values, attitudes, beliefs, and practices relating to sexuality and gender equality is a slow process that demands consistent programming and sustained efforts over a long period of time. Therefore, the ADA Phase 2 project, which we are launching today, is very critical because it fulfills the principle of the indivisibility of rights, including human rights, sexual and reproductive rights, and of course the principle of leaving no one behind. While it also, as has been said already, aims to consolidate gains made under the phase 1 of this project on strengthening capacity to deliver an integrated package of rights in Karamoja, northern Uganda. Just to highlight some of the key results that we achieved under the phase 1, because I think it's important also that we take note, and I know that my colleague Rachel spoke to that a bit. But really, it's important to highlight that the SGBV special sessions recorded an increase in conviction rates for SGBV cases from less than 20% to 74%. We have also witnessed an improved victim-centered approach, strengthening quality of handling of SGBV cases, as well as improved coordination between JLO's actors through joint training workshops and cause listing. We have also observed galvanized support of cultural institutions, and we've heard, of course, some of their commitments previously, which are very influential in the communities to promote positive values and tackle harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation and early marriages. The phase 2 project will continue, of course, to build on these gains, strengthen capacities at subnational levels to prevent and respond to GBV, enhance male engagement, which is crucial, and incorporate emerging issues such as the growing need for mental health, psychosocial support, and of course access to justice, and importantly, the need to pay more attention to those left furthest behind, including persons with disability. I am optimistic that the commitments stakeholders will make today will catalyze actions towards the realization of the rights of women and young people, empower them to exercise their rights, and ensure ultimately they will be free from gender-based violence and negative social norms, attitudes, and behaviors that limit sexual and reproductive health and rights. In closing, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, as we edge closer to the 2030 deadline to realize the Sustainable Development Goals, which, to remind you all, include the target to eliminate all forms of GBV and harmful practices, we must not let this generation down. We call on all our partners and allies to commit to the required necessary collective action for progress. GBV can no longer be justified in our communities. It is a crime and violation of human rights. Change is possible, and it is happening. And so today, let us join hands together to achieve universal coverage in Karamoja, northern Uganda. Thank you very much. Alakara. At this juncture, I have been requested to invite the head of the Austria Development Agency, Dr. Kremser, to kindly give us her remarks. Dr. Kremser, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen participants. The Honorable Minister of State for Children and Youth, Honorable Sarah Mateke Nyirabashiti. the deputy country representative from UNFPA, the RDC of Moroto represented here, the cows and representatives of the judiciary, the district chairpersons here, representative from NGOs, who we always welcome with us, all distinguished partners, participants, and other staff from the UN family. It's a pleasure and honor for me to make remarks today during this launch of our project with the UNFPA on delivering an integrated package of rights to achieve universal coverage in Karamoja and northern Uganda. My name is Dr. Roswitha Kremser, an unspeakable name, sorry for that. I have the honor and pleasure to represent my own country, that's the Republic of Austria in Uganda, and I'm also the head of the Austrian Embassy Development Cooperation Office in Kampala. Dear all, we heard a lot of speeches with a lot of technical information. I want to give you the real background of why we are here. I have to reveal to you that I had the privilege to visit all corners of this country. I went as north as the Palapek refugee settlement. I went as east as climbing Mount Elgon with the previous Minister of Tourism, trying to save the forests. I was going to the west, trying to catch lions on camera while promoting tourism with the Honorable Minister for Tourism and my EU colleagues. But I am a fan of Karamoja. And sorry for Acholi and Lago, but I think Karamoja's beauty is just what grabbed me. It's not for random reasons. It is due to a visit of our project with UNFPA, the first phase of this in May 2021. I visited Amudat and Nakapiri Pit, and I was able to discover what they called an ELA club. So that is empowerment and livelihood for adolescents. And that's why we're very happy that we have Honorable Minister with us. So there, I wasn't just talking to these beneficiaries. We had more fun. I was dancing with them. That was the girls. And I was received with such a welcoming, warm smile and embracements that I just had to fall immediately for Karamoja. I was yours. But then, of course, my reason coming there was to listen to them as well. And as early as 13 years, some of them, very little girls compared to my size, though I'm not very tall, but there were some of them very small, brave girls facing early marriages, FGM, violence in their daily lives. They talked with bravery about the cumbersome hours of going to school, their fights with their parents when they tried to convince them that, no, at 13, they do not want to marry. They just want to go to school. The thirst to learn. I went to this LEA club, and I learned with them. I saw the pictures and paintings they had on their walls, and very graphic, trying to understand life, trying to understand what is happening with them at their age at 13, and trying to stand the tides of time and also trying to learn to say no sometimes. This most impressive project by UNFPA provided these girls, and I have to say they were brave. Their bravery was so admiring. They had to receive education, actually, something very basic. They received family planning information, also financial literacy. We were talking about economic empowerment, and they received information on FGM. Honorable Minister, so the real reason why we're here today is because these girls convinced me that we have to do more. And I'm happy that because of this unique visit that I did, and I was bought, I got one bracelet. So this bracelet, I got it, and I just felt so warmly welcome that we just had to convince our colleagues in Vienna. That's my capital. We had to convince them that we cannot stop. We have to continue this. We have to expand. And I think this is the reason why we are able to be here today and celebrate the launch of this second phase, that is the bigger phase. And this phase is scheduled to benefit over 500,000 of people in Karamoja and the northern Uganda. And as Austria, we heard it, we will invest 3 million euros, and UNFPA will also bring a counterpart financing between now and end of next year. So this is the first real reason why we have to do that project. Then there's a second reason that now really swiped me off the ground and convinced me to convince the colleagues in Vienna why we need to join hands again. And that was, and I'm very happy to see Prime Minister here, also Chair of Omoro, because that was my mission to Gulu and Omoro last year. I can reveal I was sitting with Prime Minister under a tree, talking to some of his community, and also visited the Health Center 3, or together with Chair and RDC. And wherever I went within this project, I can say that we found strong partners that have convinced us that we have to continue. We have to continue to work with them, to do good. And there is one person in particular that also met in Gulu, and this is during my discussions with JLOS actors. So JLOS is Uganda's justice, law and order sector. Now they have changed name, and they call themselves now Access to Justice Sub-Program. But their motto is the motto that is captivating. Their motto is not access to justice. The motto is not access to justice for few, or for the rich, or those in Kampala. No, their motto is access to justice for all, everybody, all. And I met with one of the judiciary in Gulu, and this really impressed me. He talked about the leap forward that we reached in enhancing access to justice for SGBV survivors through the special court sessions that were organized jointly with UNFPA and other partners. But it was not these technical discussions, again. It was the passion with which the person talked about seeing, talking to the victims, talking to the families, listening to the suffering, and just wanting to do one thing, bring access to justice, and by that end the cycle of impunity. So in a way, he compensated me a bit for the other bitter stories that I had to hear. And I was told that the special court sessions were able to dispose of 950 cases, while the colleagues from the media, and I think we didn't greet them enough, the colleagues from the media were able to reach more than 1 million people with messages on including how to end violence and how to access justice. And obviously we involved the cultural institutions, the Karamoja Elders Association, and from Acholi, the Interreligious Council. And I think today we did not talk about the village health teams, because I was also impressed once by meeting a lady, actually. She was an elderly lady, and her views on SGBV and how to bring information on family planning to the youth was just sweeping me off the ground, because it was so spot on, trying to bring her decades of rich information to the youth. So, Honorable Minister and dear participants, I think and I'm confident that through this project, women and young people, especially those in hard-to-reach communities, will be empowered to exercise their rights, free from violence and safe from harmful practices, such as female genital mutilation. I also plead to the leaders who are here, and we have very proudly, I'm very proud that we have one of the two our regional police commanders sitting here with us. I plead to you all to listen carefully to the victims. Why? Because sometimes we hear, and we haven't talked about it today, sometimes we hear that they're not only barred from accessing justice by their families and their communities, or by lack of knowledge, but we also have been hearing that corruption is unfortunately a factor that hinders some of them from reporting their cases and seeking justice. So I plead to the leaders here present to listen carefully to those victims and try not to find out not only what they tell you, but also find out what they do not tell you. The beneficiaries of the project that we're launching today should include more than 10,000 SGBV survivors and 2,700 people with disabilities. And if we join forces, we can change the lives not only of a few. We can't reach all, but we can reach thousands and thousands and thousands of people if we are really willing to do so. And I think that is already a great progress if we can do so. Dear all, as Austria, our country strategy for Uganda is focused on access to justice for all. But we understand that the legal system, as powerful as it is, it's also complicated for some. And I'm not a lawyer, so even for me it is complicated. Without assistance. That's why I'm very happy that I have with me in my team one of the most seasoned jailers experts in my team here, Dr. Katia. So we have to be honest and admit that when we read the statistics for Uganda, we can see that those are unable to afford a lawyer. For them, it is very difficult to access justice and the court systems. Additional barriers include court costs and various fees requested, including even to pay a fee just to get a copy of some of the forms of the police. And, or when they go to have the medical exams. Also, it can be so difficult to find information on very simple procedural issues. Without equal access to justice, many Ugandans will struggle with their legal problems that negatively affect their livelihoods, their children, and their family. For this reason, Austria is not only funding this project, but we are also a proud partner of the Justice, Law and Order family and the judiciary, so that we can encourage and join hands with them to handle cases in what has already been talked here a lot, that is to put the victim at the center of all work. By ensuring that not only those that live in the fancy houses in Kampala, but everybody, including those that have no or very little money. By ensuring that those have access to the legal systems, we do not only want to enhance their quality of lives, but we want to enter them. What I learned in Uganda is the money economy. As a businessman and businesswoman, and we want to support Uganda's economy to thrive. Statistical data by UNFPA is a lot. They have a lot of brochures and leaflets, but there's one statistical evidence that I really think is so powerful. That is the story of two girls. Two girls working in the rural areas. Two girls with an agricultural background. And both of these two girls have early teenage pregnancies. Two girls, very common scenario. Out of the two girls, only one will ever make it beyond subsistence agriculture. Only one. You have two girls with teenage pregnancies, and only one of the two will make it beyond subsistence agriculture. The second one will forever remain with a hawk in her hand from morning to dawn, working, maybe having back pains, maybe having many, many children and big families. Now, my question to you as leaders is, and we have heard a lot about violence. If this situation continues, how do your communities, your districts, you can reach the middle income status? That is a fundamental question that is really at the heart of why we think that ending violence will also lift up the Ugandan economy, just because of the stories of the two girls, which is so easily understandable. So you can see that I like many stories, and I think such statistics are a very powerful tool to convince everybody about the importance of fighting teenage pregnancies and violence within the families. Honorable Minister, we are confident that this project with you, UNFPA, and with you as a partner will go a long way in consolidating the gains made in the predecessor project in northern Uganda and Karamoja. We hope that thousands of beneficiaries will form a critical mass for gender equality and be able to end violence, not only within their families, but within the communities. I also heard about talking and questioning what are we doing beyond this project. And I can just inform you that just recently, when it comes to economic empowerment, I was here in Moroto to launch the first ever bakery that you have here in Moroto. That's with Caritas, and I was in the blessed presence of not one, but two bishops to launch it. And we also work with other partners in accessing land rights and also enhancing agricultural production. We have so many activities here in the north. I do not want to divert. And access to water, of course, is very important. All of these interventions, including this very important topic of accessing universal rights in Karamoja and northern Uganda, we can't do it without you. Our Thank you so much for your attention.
A huge round of applause for the head of delegation. Thank you so much. Again, if you are just joining us online, we are launching the delivery of the integrated rights, and that's a whole package to make sure we achieve a whole lot of universal coverage, not just for northern Uganda, but the Karamoja region as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite the resident district commissioner, the RDC Moroto district, who will say a few words to us and then invite the chief guest.
Mata Jijwe, Matang Karimojong, Matang Kashol, Matang Langoy, Matang Pejo, Matang Minister, Alakarano Way. Thank you so much. That was how they greet in Karamoja. That is a polite way of greeting. And that's how they welcome visitors to the region. So thank you so much. Honorable Minister of State for Children and Youth Affairs, honorable members of Parliament present here today, my colleagues, resident district commissioners, I can see my whip of Karamoja of the RDCs, Kotido, Elder, where are you? I saw him around. Maybe he has moved out. Any other RDC that has come? Maybe they did not get the information. That's why maybe they are not here. District chairpersons, cultural leaders, the regional police commanders that are present there, Mount Moroto and Ajua River region, the chief administrative officers Moroto and Daolo Karamoja and Teso, not Teso, Asholi, Alango that are here, UNFPA representatives, Austrian Development Agency that are here, which is our funders, the judicial officers, the district community development officers, and the CDOs that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Tuko Justin Assam, Deputy RDC Moroto. My senior RDC is not around, but is with us in spirit. He lost a granddaughter in Mbale when she was giving birth in Mbale Regional Referral Hospital. But he's together with us and is passing his greetings to all of you and welcoming the Minister of State for Children Affairs to Karamoja and all the partners that are here. I've been given 3 minutes, and of which I think I'm remaining with only maybe 1.5. I have only 3 things to pass. The things today that we are discussing from here, that we are going to launch, the project that we have got, is mainly on teenage pregnancies, GBV, and of course, and the rest of the things like FGM that has been, being practiced in some parts of Karamoja, especially the Tepeth. Yeah, it is true that the statistics that they mentioned, they talked of North being the highest in GBV, but I also want to put it right that not only in North, it's also too much in Karamoja. I know UNFPA has been, fighting this thing for some good time, but it is still a problem. You know, now we need to ask ourselves what is causing all this. There is illiteracy level rate in Karamoja. People have not gone to school. And those are the things that somebody was mentioning from here. How shall we handle the children that have not gone to school? They are being recruited every day to wrong things. Like even especially now in Karamoja, the people who are raiding are the youth. What shall we do about the youth? We have here the district community development officers and the CDOs, community development officers. They have done a great job. They are doing a great job. Before anything goes to police and so forth, it is the information is first going to them. They are the first people to get the information, and they are the ones to report this information to police. They are the ones also who are encouraging the people who are affected to report the matter to police, and have done a great job. I thank you all. The police, you have done a great job. I want to give you an example. There is a primary school around, there is a sub-county called Adunget. There is a primary school there called, it's called Chairman, which is Low Carry Out, where a teacher was harassing a child of 16 years, a teacher, a primary teacher. A primary teacher. And this thing was reported by my community development officers of Moroto, who worked hard, and they reported the issue to police. From police, they took the person to court. Unfortunately, from court, the man was released on, I don't know, the police bond or court bail and so forth. Which is really, I think, also a problem. I think we need, what shall we do? Good enough also, my registrar is here. There are certain things that we need to close the other eye. You close it. Yet, a person has done really a wrong thing to a person, to a child, assuming it was your child. What could happen? What could happen? You just close one eye, even if the other, you say, no. Let me do what is needed such that others also can learn from such a person. Such a person. So I think, I don't know whether that case has been crossed, maybe forgiven. In Karamoja, things have been happening. The rights of women, children, the girls, and so forth. In Karamoja those days, a woman was not allowed to eat a certain part of the chicken. Of the chicken. Huh? Those rights. Discrimination was too much in Karamoja. Right to education, it was a very big problem in Karamoja. You know, in Karamoja, the literacy level in Karamoja, they could say, don't educate the young girl, the girl child. If you educate the girl child, he's going to become a prostitute in his school. Maintain that person such that, you know, after some time, you can be able to fetch the animals. 100 cows that they used to get. 100 cows. And that's why really Karamoja is still behind. Because of that illiteracy level, which is there. That's why I need to thank really the partners that are here. They have done a great job in ensuring that the girl child also goes to school because they are all equal. Women also were not allowed even to own any property. Any property. If the father maybe dies, all the assets of the father, it's only the boys that can distribute those things among themselves. A woman, the girl, you know, the sisters, you know, for you are not part of this. You are not part of this. Even in voting, you vote for your leader, which is the right of everybody. a right for everybody. A man tells you, no, 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 no. I don't, if I see you, I saw you the other day campaigning for so and so. If I see you, you will not come to my home. You will not come to my home. And that's really a problem. A man also wants a woman to follow a person is supporting. So those are some of the things really that we need to fight. Even though the women also who are working, a man also want to control that salary. Want to control it. No, 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 no. So those are the abuses, injustices that we need to fight as the people of Uganda, as the partners who are here. The police, you have done a great job. So we now want to thank you a lot. What shall we do about this? This is really a question which is for all of us. How shall we end this? We need to support for us now, because there are those cultural institutions which is represented now here by the Prime Minister of Lango. There are those elders forums. There are those opinion leaders in the villages. The CDOs who are here. How shall we support these groups? Because now we cannot go direct to the field. They are the ones. If there is a need, we need to empower with resources these categories that I've mentioned so that they can really help. The religious leaders, they have done a great job. So they are the ones to pass information, because we don't need to work in isolation without them. We need to empower the girl child. That's why really all of us, we know and we are all witnesses that the president of this country is the first person who initiated, immediately came to power, empowering women. Empowering women. That's why the minister, the minister we have right now here, all women that are here is being empowered by the president of this country. We need to thank him so much. He has done a great job. That's why at the time of the ministers, everybody was complaining that now the president has appointed only women, just because these presidents want to empower ladies that has been left behind. So we want to thank them so much for the great job they are doing. They are transparent. Women, they are transparent so much. So they don't do things like the way men do, like us. For us, we don't, bring anything which is supposed to be brought out. So women, we thank you so much for your transparency. So, with those few remarks, maybe before that, Honorable Minister and the partners, our funders that are here, we have a remand home here, which was supposed to help us, our young children, the victims, to be a rehabilitation area for these children here. We have a rehabilitation center here, the remand home. I think I'm happy that the Ministry for Gender, Labor and Social Development are here. The site has taken about more than 5 years. 7, 8, my chairman is testifying from here. There is nowhere now, even most of the cases, even the shelters that we have here, it's very small, cannot accommodate all the survivors of gender-based violence. What shall we do really? I remember Honorable Minister whispered, that after this, I think we need to go and visit that place. As Moroto, we shall be grateful if that place can be worked on. It will help Karamoja, because that thing is a regional, remand center for the region. Thank you so much. With those few remarks, I now take the honor to invite our guest of honor of today to come and make our remarks. Thank you so much.
the RDC, Moroto District. I don't know whether other RDCs are here. The district chairpersons, my colleague, Member of Parliament, Honorable Okim Wajara, MP for Chua West, Chitugum District, representatives from MDS, district chief administrative officers, the chief magistrate or the registrar who is representing our courts, the district technical officers that are here, the deputy representative of the United Nations Population Fund, Mr. Daniel Alemo, the representative of the Austrian Development Agency, Dr. Krimsa, a very complicated name, the RPC with your staff, development partners that are here, the cultural leaders, I saw our prime ministers here, the civil society stakeholders, the media fraternity, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mata. I can't add on another one. I'm called Sarah Nyirabashitsi Mateke, and I'm a member of parliament representing the people of Kisoro. Those who don't know where Kisoro is located, when you're drawing the map of Uganda, that W at the end, we border DRC and Rwanda. And I happen to be the Minister of State for Gender, Labor and Social Development, in charge of youth and children. And being a politician, before I put forward my speech, it would be very unfair that I find here my colleague, a member of parliament, and he goes without saying a word. And yet they are the policy makers, and people have really narrated the issues that we have here. That tomorrow when I go to present something in parliament, I have somebody to support me. Honorable, I was requesting for only 2 words. Please, thank you.
Thank you, my minister. Thank you, the host. And the program organizers. As the minister said, my name is Oken Pipi Ujara. I represent the people of Chua West, Kitgum District. Yeah, I was really, you know, these days the MPs have become so unpopular. You know what happened in the parliament recently. But I think that happened for the best of the country. The most important thing that we normally do as a parliament is appropriation. And any program that comes at the district level is normally included in the budget. And when we have heard that this funding is about 3 billion? 3 billion, that is already an additional funding to the government. And by way of appropriation, I think it will help the 2 sub-region, Karamoja, as well as also actually sub-region. And we will take it up. And I can guarantee you that any project or an activity that involves the community, it has to get some political buy-in. Recently, we had a program, Madam Minister, that was meant to be implemented in actually sub-region. But we have had this program requiring almost 27.9 million acres of land from the region, from actually sub-region. So as political leaders, we were really, very scared. And I can tell you, we have been fighting to understand the program. better before it is implemented. But inviting members of parliament in this kind of initiative, I can tell you, Madam Minister, I'll be one of the supporters. When you bring this to parliament, we shall support it and we shall make sure it is implemented to benefit the people of the two sub-region. Thank you very much, Madam Minister, for giving me this opportunity. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We need the politicians that they also commit to what we are doing. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I join you today at this very important event of launching phase 2 of the project named Delivering an Integrated Package of Rights to Achieve Universal Coverage in Karamoja and Northern Uganda. I want to thank you all for taking off time within your busy schedules to attend this very important event that is a clear demonstration of your continued commitment towards improving the quality life of the population, especially the young generation of women. Thank you so much. Allow me to convey my appreciation to UNFPA and the Austrian Development Agency for their continued commitment to the partnership with the government of Uganda, especially in addressing the challenges facing the young people and women in the areas of gender-based violence and sexual reproductive health and rights. We want to thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we can all acknowledge that gender-based violence and violence against children in Uganda remains high despite ongoing efforts by various stakeholders. I think you have heard all the testimonies. When the RPC was talking, you would see that everybody is touched in one way or another. I want to note that the statistics are still appalling. Cases of defilement have remained high, with 12,580 defilement cases reported in 2022 from 14,000, which was reported in 2021, according to the Police Crime Report 2022. Of course, out of these, 3,620 were aggravated defilement. This is just a tip of an iceberg. Considering the potential of underreporting, of course, not everybody goes to report. Some of these cases end up from homes, especially in the rural areas. It also underlies the extent of sexual gender-based violence in the country, especially the magnitude of threats to adolescent sexual reproductive health that drive teenage pregnancy and acquisition of sexually transmitted infections. Access to justice continues to be marred with delays and other challenges. I want to thank the registrar for coming here. Thank you. But I would request that next time you also call the office of the DPP. Most of our cases die from DPP's office. Police has done its work. The cases are taken to DPP's office. All of a sudden, you go to hear things have changed, that the years have changed, that this case has become political. And yet you're seeing there's really, at times I get confused when they tell me they are still doing investigations. Yet you have spoiled somebody's child and you're seeing it with your own two eyes. There is a case I always give an example to. Someone very big, 70 years, you go and defile somebody's child, S3, I think she was in S2, S3. You elope with the child, impregnate her after knowing that people have known. You just bring her to Kampala and dab her in a certain clinic, and then they carry out an abortion, which was not very good because it affected the bladder of the young girl, and then they neglected the girl in the clinic. The people in the clinic had to first call. Such a case. You arrest the man, police did its work, taken to court. After reaching court, The man was remanded for 2 weeks. After that, he was released. And after being released, they keep telling him, come back after 1 month, another month. The girl is not yet in school. That is one. Secondly, the girl is still on treatment. Third, now they have turned it, it is political. So I'm wondering, what does it mean that a case has become political after spoiling somebody's child? Suppose that child was yours. Would it be the same statement? That is what I always ask them. Let me stop there. Cases reported in 2022, 4,725 cases were taken to court. 817 cases were not proceeded with, while 7,000 cases are still under inquiry. The investigation I was telling you. Out of these cases taken to court, 205 cases secured convictions. 1 case was acquitted. 3 cases were dismissed. 4,515 cases are still pending in court. A total of 4,843 suspects of defilement were arrested and charged to court, of whom 206 were convicted, 8 were discharged, while 4,500 are still awaiting trial. Ladies and gentlemen, Karamoja, Lango, and Acholi sub-regions have some of the worst sexual reproductive health rights, and hence the outcomes are widespread under the gender inequality and gender-based violence. Female genital mutilation is also widely practiced in Karamoja, as you have already heard, and 6.5% of the women and girls from the communities of Tepeth, Pokot, and Kadim ethnic groups to have undergone FGM. This practice has adverse effects on the sexual and reproductive health of girls and women, including difficulty in childbirth, the risk of suffering fistula, development of other keloids, that's how they call them, and then accelerated school dropouts due to early marriage. When the Prime Minister was talking, a lot came into my mind. Because gender-based violence, the one who said that at least all of us has ever faced it. If you have not faced it with your own parents as you are growing, you're facing it right now. And you know what is interesting? I love the men. They keep quiet. Even if you beat them, they will keep quiet. But for the women, and by the way, that's why we live longer. Eh? You know why women live longer? For us, we know how to make noise for ourselves. But the man will die naturally down there. So, very quiet. So, with the gender-based violence, of course, we are going to experience a lot, and we are still experiencing, especially issues to do with poverty. Of course, that's one of the causes. And of course, when GBV enters, poverty has to increase. GBV, with teenage pregnancies, of course, if we do not do the right thing as parents, I always tell people that all this goes back to us as a family. It goes back to us as a family. We need to value family so that the family is able to know the children will value their values, they will value their culture, they will value their parents when you're seated together. But if you're fighting, who is going to look after these children? And remember, these same children are also going to marry, and then they will think what their father and mother were doing is the right way to go and do it even in my home. So we need to do a lot. When he was talking, he reminded me, I've been moving the whole of Uganda. I was in Gulu. There is a children's home I had gone to visit. I think it's Ray's. Tina can remind me. So when we reached there, they have a health center. So when they told the girl who was there that that is the Minister of Youth and Children, this girl was less, I think around 10 years. This 10-year-old girl had a baby. And surprisingly, she gave birth normally, while some of us it is hard, but with God's miracles, the girl gave birth normally. She was 10 years. So when she saw me, she decided to cry. The baby she's holding is crying. The mother is also doing what? Now, a baby carrying a baby. Then I wondered, this is just one person who has had access to the minister. what of those ones who are behind there? And of course, as a minister, I wouldn't see a child looking after a child. We had to get solutions. And surprisingly, the family had chased the girl. So after chasing the girl, because she was a total orphan, where she gave birth, she said, I'm not leaving this place. So they were also stuck with the child. So we had to get solutions. But this is only one child. So when the Prime Minister was talking, I could feel, because I have seen with my 2 eyes, that what is happening in that region is not the best. When it goes to alcohol, when it goes to drugs, that one with drugs, I don't know how police is handling that. Of course, with child marriages, that one has become too much. Even the big men are taking the small girls. So we need to address all that. On the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, the maternal mortality ratio in Karamoja is 700 mothers dying due to pregnancy-related complications per 100,000 live births, compared to the national average of 336 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. That is according to the Uganda Demographic Health Survey of 2016, because it's the one we are still using. Yet for Acholi and Lango sub-regions, the maternal mortality ratio is 368 and 353 maternal deaths per 100,000 live deaths, still from the UDHS 2016, which is close to the national average. Karamoja and Acholi are the second and third sub-regions that recorded the highest percentage increase in teenage pregnancy in 2021 at 15.8% and 11.5% respectively, higher than the national increase of 7%. Moreover, 3 districts, Amdat and Abim in Karamoja and Omoro in Acholi, are among the 12 districts that recorded more than 20% increase in teenage pregnancies in 2021. This tells us probably why this project is focusing on these districts. Ladies and gentlemen, the issues that have just been highlighted above have serious implications on the rights of girls to education, life, sexual reproductive health, protection, and a safe and secure environment. It is also very clear that the major issues that we must deal with strongly are positive parenting, addressing negative social norms, and scaling up male involvement, and making sexual reproductive health services accessible, affordable, and acceptable. However, this does not necessarily mean that other key interventions are given less attention. We also need to continue focusing on interventions such as women economic empowerment. I believe when a woman is empowered, I'm telling you, the home will be at peace. You know, at times why we fight, now the woman, you reach home, even if it is an educated woman here, we always feel that a man should provide in one or another. The woman will be keeping her money, would say, you know, mister, I need this. Yet the woman is keeping her what? So now, imagine this woman who doesn't have, but insists the man should provide. I believe that if we empower our women, then we should be taking the right direction. This will help us to help our women and girls, especially after empowering them, you know that you've put them at a better level. Of course, as I had said, promoting right parenting and strengthening our legal and policy framework and institutional frameworks. Therefore, discussions and the choices we make today should enable us to allocate resources towards building resilience for our women and girls for future crises. The role of the family needs to be strengthened, including media engagements. Government recognizes there are several negative cultural practices that affect the dignity of women and girls and has taken progressive steps in redressing them. Specifically, I want to reiterate government commitment to ensuring that the guidelines of sexuality education for out of school are finalized and passed to help stakeholders clearly implement the life skills and sexual health education. Other interventions include media campaigns to sensitize the public on dangers of teenage pregnancy and early marriages, promotion of male involvement in addressing gender-based violence, and of course, popularizing the revised national strategy to end child marriage and teenage pregnancy 2022, 23, 2026, 27 that outlines the priority interventions and actions that ensure that girls are protected and supported to reach their potential. I am very happy about the participation of the cultural and religious institutions in this event, as they are key, or they play a very serious role in shaping our society and addressing negative norms, cultural norms and practices that affect the well-being of our society. Additionally, the media should play a very critical role of educating our population about the dangers of teenage pregnancy, early marriage, and the effects of FGM. The traditional media has been overshadowed by social media, and this trend must change. I was happy when I saw the cultural leaders. I have been coming to Karamoja. This must be like my 5th time from the time I was appointed Minister of Youth and Children. As I'm trying to find out, I was trying to find out what really brings these children to the streets of Kampala. And I realized most of them come from just one district. The majority come from Napak. Are there people from Napak here? Yes, Napak district. And they told me the only solution, if I want to address this, I need the cultural leaders so that they will sit together and we address this together. They told me as myself, I cannot manage. I need you. By the way, we need everybody in this fight to see these children leave the streets of Kampala, come back home and start school. Much as we always think that we can take them back to study skills, but skills are short-lived. I believe that if we took them back to school, you'll be giving them a better future. And since I have seen here the RDC, I have seen the chairman, please, let's work together to have these children come back and they go back to school. I am glad that Phase 2 project on integrated delivery of package of universal rights will focus in delivering of an integrated package of sexual reproductive health rights as a strategic approach, therefore increasing the availability of integrated SRH and GBV information and services is very critical. Also strengthening data management information system, such as Sauti helpline. I was reading through the data they gave me. I realized this side, most people do not know anything about Sauti. And I wish our CDOs, they told me CDOs are here. You stand up. The CDOs who are here. You should tell the public so that they know that we have this helpline to help our children. Please clap for these CDOs. I know what you're going through, but we want to thank you for the job that you're doing. And I pray that you popularize the Sauti number, the child helpline, so that even when a child is in the village and is stuck, they are able to know that they will call and there is somebody to pay attention to them in whatever language. It is very, very important. Of course, we are there to promote the data collection, analysis, and reporting on sexual, reproductive health, and gender-based violence, and harmful practices, strengthening multi-sector service delivery of quality, integrated sexual reproductive health, and essential gender-based violence services, of course, through the integrated information system. Ladies and gentlemen, I call upon us to strengthen our collaboration and coordination as government development partners, civil society organizations, the media, to adequately deal with the issues that are affecting our society. Government of Uganda is committed to strengthening and ensuring implementation of existing legal and policy frameworks, and of course, which includes the National Policy on Elimination of Gender-Based Violence, the policy that was passed in 2016, the Prohibition of FGM Act 2010, and its regulations, the Prevention of Trafficking of Persons Act 2009, and of course the Penal Code Act, CAP 120, and the Children's Amendment Act 2016, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I wish to sincerely thank UNFPA, that I have been always complaining that they always forget me, yet I am the Minister of Children. You always carry the children and put them in women, yet they are still children. Much as they have given birth, they are not yet women. They are what? They are children. So don't push them to the women's docket. They are still children. I want to thank you, UNFPA, and of course the Austrian Development Agency, for the continued collaboration with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in GBV prevention and response, and sexual achieve this. I pray that those who are going to take charge of this program, we come back even for the third phase. We shall only come back to the third phase if you perform properly in the what? In the second phase. So I want to thank you very much. And with those few remarks, I am honored officially to launch the project delivering an integrated package of rights to achieve universal coverage in Karamoja and northern Uganda. Alakala Noi, for God and my country.
Thank you so much. Another huge round of applause for the Honorable State Minister. Now, the launch can only be a launch if we commit to it as well. And right now, the Honorable State Minister will append a signature on behalf of yes. She appends her signature on behalf of the government of Uganda, and she has officially declared it open. Before she leaves, I would love to call our development partner, led by the head of delegation for Austria, to come and officially commit to the phase 3. Yes. We're already way into. Thank you so much. So phase 2. Another huge round of applause for the Austrian Development Agency. They are committing to a successful phase 2. And joining us on stage is the country representative for UNFPA, and he will join in the commitment of a successful phase 2. It is a very, very... The green is a go from UNFPA. They are committing and, of course, officially launching the delivering of an integrated package of rights to make sure we have universal coverage We want to call the Prime Minister to be a part of the team that represents the cultural leaders in these great regions. They come to commit on behalf of the communities and, of course, the cultural institutions they represent. Coming onto the stage, yes. They committing on behalf of the cultural institutions they represent this very day. It is a very, very huge day. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a group photo and yes, let's first take a group photo and the district. Okay. The rest of us, yes, the commitments will be in the middle as they take a group photo. All right. So we have men and women. We'll do this second. I think the second. We can't. All right, before they go, Honorable Minister, we'll have the district representatives and the political leaders that are in this place, the chairpersons, RDCs, CDOs, okay. The MPs, yes. Joining in to commit. Let's try one by one. All right, we'll have a few representatives do it now, and then we take the group photo. All right. Yes. Members, the rest of us, let's join the group photo. All right. We'll sign in just a bit. For now, let's take a group photo. It's exciting to see the excitement in committing. For now, let's take a group photo. All right. Let's. Smile for the camera here. So the rest card will be outside. The commitment card will be outside. For now, allow me invite the entertainment cultural group to give us some light entertainment. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. The entertainment is next on the agenda. One that is joining us online, thank you so much. We hope you did sign online. You can append your signature with your profile and commit to being a part of this great cause. The entertainment is up next.
Who's gonna be Miss Culture? chayo ajama kinyata una ngone ngone ajama kinanga yo ngone akayo yo kayo yogon dori lo musalaba chayo ajama kinyata una ngone ngone ajama kinanga yo ngone akayo yo kayo yogon dori lo musalaba chayo Karamoja yo bunanya yo nakayo ikidoli Karamoja yo bunanya yo nakayo ikidoli Enapia ngarukanen enapia ngachilom enapia ngone enapia nyelwen ari natalyo nyakatawa ajama kinanga unya ngone ajama kinanga engayo ngone natalyo kayo ikidoli lo musalaba chayo ajama kinanga unya ngone ajama kinanga engayo ngone natalyo kayo ikidoli lo musalaba chayo ajama kinanga unya ngone ajama kinanga engayo ngone natalyo kayo ikidoli lo musalaba chayo apata tokana talyo digoro nyamana natalyo dagiri apata tokana talyo digoro matana natalyo akile apata tokana talyo digoro matana natalyo akile apata tokana talyo digoro bitulana natalyo
she wind up booty right to the left Natalyo come raise and shine I'll be with you till the end of time Give me the booty, let me wind up on it Give me the booty, let me play upon it Dance to the rhythm, Okoronka Zakiziko Wind it up in Natalyo Me say, wind it up in Natalyo Iyonka yongo pakalas Chichi, iyonka yongo pakalas
Me say, Niki chamone de Natalyo Robo, Oli bongi go nyakabu Nyotumor, Niki chamone de Natalyo Robo
Santos lo chatakere nyawi ayong
Good afternoon, gentlemen. All protocols observed. In front is Imagate Youth Group going to perform Naleyo, a romantic dance from the Tepeth people. Naleyo is a good romantic dance that forces a lady being engaged in a community. Thank you.
Masauti nyo, masauti nyo, masauti nyo, masauti nyo, masauti nyo, masauti nyo, sauti nyo, masauti nyo, sauti nyo, masauti nyo, magi sauti nyo, masauti nyo, tuko sauti nyo, masauti nyo. Iwa sauti nyo, masauti nyo. Iwa sauti, masauti nyo. Masauti nyo, masauti nyo. O sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Iwa sauti nyo, masauti nyo. Iwa sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Tuko sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. David sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Iwa sauti nyo, ama sauti nyo. Masauti nyom. Masauti nyom. Masauti. Jabidole na mayo, ma jabidole mbaro biyanda. Jabele muya. Adiri bay. Na mayo man. Mbaro biyanda. Jabele muya. Kimila sugari. Na mayo man. Mbaro biyanda. Jabele muya. Adiri bay ya. Na mayo ma. Mbaro biyanda. Jabele muya. Kimila lugay. Na yo ma imparo biyan tebelem yang kimila sibiria na yo ma imparo biyan tebelem yang ayiri bai jaradito ile yo jaradito ile yo jaradito Ileyo, Yaradi de Kampala. Ah, Ileyo, Yaradi de Mbale. Jorodi to. Ah, Ileyo, Yaradi de Kenya. Jorodi to. Ileyo, Jorodi to. Adilo yamugaye, iodoro ziabe. Ilaita mara mugende baunu. Mugaye katonga jawo doro ziabe. Ati mugende baun. Ikatonga jawo doro ziabe. Ikati mugende bauna. Ikatonga jawo doro ziabe. Ikati mugende baun. Tanga jawo doro japet. Ilaita mara mugende pauno. Tanga jawo doro japet. Ikati mugende pauno. Ikatanga jawo doro japet. Harja.
A huge round of applause. Yes. Awesome, great entertainment right there, powerful performance. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to know who will be helping us implement this great program. And I want you to join with me when we are appreciating the following CSOs and NGOs that will be part of the implementing partners. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for BRAC Uganda. Please stand up so we are able to see the team from BRAC that will be helping with the implementation stage of this program. We also have a team from Action Aid Uganda. A huge round of applause for the team. Thank you so much. We have the International Rescue Committee. If you're here, a huge round of applause. Yes, they will be helping implement this great program. We also have the Interreligious Council of Uganda. They will be part of the implementing partners, and we appreciate you. We also have Team Cow from Karamoja. If you're here and you represent this great team, please stand up, but also we want to really recognize you. Cow is in the back right there. Thank you so much. Now it is my pleasure to invite Kevin Wanjala Ouma to give the official administrative notice. Yes, he's making his way here. From myself and the team, it has been amazing. I can't wait to see you at phase 3.
Our guest of honor, the the head embassy, the DC, the country representative, UNFPA, the cultural leaders present, the district stakeholders present, the members of parliament present. Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Wanjala Ouma. I'll be supporting, coordinating this project on the side of Action Aid International Uganda. And it's a pleasure to see the beautiful and handsome faces once again. To many of you we've met before. We have been handling the issue of logistics on behalf of the UNFPA, and it's my pleasure to announce to you that the logistics will be coming in as we walk out of this venue. Thank you very much. So I hope everyone has registered on the attendance list, and those who registered on the attendance list were guided on how to register on the mobile money payment form. We need to sort out that just to avoid disturbances, because after sending, it may be difficult to rectify. Thank you very much.
Okay, can we all rise up for the national anthems in a reverse form? Mungu tamba ulinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure with being all of you in Moroto. Lunch is there for all of us. So you're all welcome. Thank you. See you again.
Ayong nakwakel nyakwanga nakori koda kwanakang nanyanga pate kebuzen nyokitiri nya lokidor nyokimanya lomoding baka chidake ngakile baka chidake nyamato. Ayong nakwakel nyakwanga nakori koda kwanakang nanyanga pate kebuzen nyokitiri nya lokidor nyokimanya lomoding baka chidake ngakile baka chidake nyamato. Toporok, toporok, toporok. Kibaba nyadwal. Kidongak, kidongak, kidongak. Kibaba nyabo. Kitadongak pane. Kitubulet pane. Kitubulet pane. Kiwala, kiwala. Kitadongak pane. Kitubulet pane. Kitubulet pane. Kiwala, kiwala. Na kuwan kebuzen. Na cherita kone. Mieke puro. Ilege makana ngina. Yiko kuli bilip. Iluko tujunikang. ni bakupane tamapaki nangi bolyo kisaki bakipe pero lo harumulokam kisaki akuwase pite kitara unanyepe kisaki bakipe pero lo harumulokam kisaki akuwase pite kitara unanyepe toporok 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 Kibapa nyadwal Kidongak 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 Kibapa nyabo Kitadongak pane Kitubulyak pane Kitudunat pane Kiwala kiwala Kitadongak pane Kitubulyak pane Kitudunat pane Kiwala ayong nakwakel nakwanga nakorikoda kwanakang nanyanga pate kabuzen nyokethiri nyalo kidor nyokimanya lomoding baka chidaki ngagile baka chidaki nyamato ayong nakwakel nakwanga nakorikoda kwanakang nanyanga pate kabuzen nyokethiri nyalo kidor Yoke mana lomodin Bwaka chidake ngagile Bwaka chidake nyimato Toporok, toporok, toporok Kibapanya
A contributing factor to the way of life of a community. Culture and traditions are an integral part of any social norms, and these do have a contributing factor to the way of life of a community across the world. That is no different from Nakiloro, the place where I'm at. It is in Moroto, in Uganda, in the Karamoja sub-region. It has been nothing short of amazing. The people, very welcoming, but that's not all. The weather, if you look around me, there are amazing mountains that have the coolest of weather. It might be windy, but that is not what you expect of the Karamoja sub-region. It's not hot, it is just a beautiful breeze that just captivates you, and that is also in the spirit of its people. I am a part of the MCI media team that is here documenting a project phase launch between UNFPA and the Austrian Development Agency. This is phase 2, and the theme this year is making sure they deliver on the integrated rights that are going to help achieve the universal coverage of not just Karamoja but the northern region.
The main objective of this project is to consolidate the gains from the previous phase of the project, so then we make some sustainable change in the communities that we are supporting. A major thing that we are looking forward to in this program is access to justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. We realized from the last phase that when we implemented the SGBV special court sessions, we were able to really expedite the access to justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. So we are looking forward really to scale up that in this project so that many survivors of sexual and gender-based violence are able to receive justice.
And this particular project will make sure that all these social norms are encouraged, and those that do not work for the people perhaps are alleviated.